last weekend we watched my DVD copy of The Dark Knight, which is from 2008. I've had this movie
Right.
all this time, probably watched it 30 times now with lots of different people. So that's one of the great things about physical media. This is my copy. I can watch it as many times as I want.
You and your physical media, yes.
So we watched The Dark Knight, which is still, it's a great movie, and it's still one of the best comic book movies of all time, according to a lot of people. I would agree with that, I'd say. Now, since these are older movies, we're going to spoil these, okay? We're going to spoil The Dark Knight here. So, would you like to start off? What are your thoughts on The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan?
Well, I saw it back in the day when it first came out.
Did you see it in theater?
I think so. I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I saw it a long time ago. And no, this is probably my third watching of it. I'm thinking. I think it was on TV before and I watched it.
Did you?
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great film. Heath Ledger's performance is fantastic. He's such a weird Joker. He's so weird.
Yeah, it's different from the previous one we had with Jack Nicholson and the one from, what was the other guy's name? Cesar Romero?
I don't know. I just really enjoyed his close for Heath Ledger. Yeah, I think it's good. It is a little bit long, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, all of Christopher Nolan's movies are too long. This one is 2 hours, 32 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not the longest of his Dark Knight trilogy,
No.
but I still say this is the best one.
I think so too.
I mean, people still to this day, you'll still see kids out at Halloween doing Heath Ledger's Joker. That's how popular it is. It still comes up.
It's not around here.
Well, in some places, you know. It's still a classic one there. This is one of the better versions of the Joker that we had. It's way better than Cesar Romero there. Remember that one?
Yeah, and I also enjoyed was it the Joker movie?
The Joker movie.
That was a different take on it. I did enjoy that as well.
I
think his performance
I didn't
is the
enjoy
best.
that movie, although that's the only other movie besides Aquaman, the only other DC movie to make $1 billion.
Well, it was really interesting, and I loved how gritty it was, and it was much more of a realistic type of film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
But
they always want to make
this
these
performance
realistic.
was the best.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Of the Joker.
unfortunately, Heath Ledger is not around anymore, so there's tragedy surrounding this film.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Maggie Gyllenhaal replacing Katie Holmes as Rachel?
Yeah, I think she did a good job. I
Yeah,
haven't seen her in anything recently.
I'm not really a huge fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal. Her brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, is more successful.
I don't know what she's up to. She's off having kids or something, but she hasn't been in any movies. But that's the problem with women in Hollywood, right? They get a lot of movies when they're in their 20s, and then once they get their 30s, 40s, no one wants knocking on their door anymore. Anyway, maybe
If they're
we'll see
good,
her
they
again.
do.
Not necessarily, no. It's all women in their 20s. That's
I think
what
she
the
was in her
movies are
30s.
all about.
When they did
Anyway,
this.
well,
Katie
I thought it was good.
Katie Holmes, I think, made a mistake not coming back for this movie. It's
I'd
Katie
rather-
Holmes, you know. Does
her.
anyone really remember her that much?
Yes, I'd rather her than
Than Gyllenhaal?
no, I'd rather Gyllenhaal
Than
than
Katie Holmes?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's much more like for this film, for the tone, she's much more sober person. She has a lot of emotionality. Katie Holmes doesn't.
Okay. I don't really have any preference when it comes to either of these actresses for these Batman movies. Christian Bale is back as, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
I'm doing this voice because everyone loves the voice.
Well, he's trying to disguise his voice, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean,
People still rip on him to that
yeah.
this day.
It's still, I like it.
Okay.
It's good, although it's a bit long.
Yeah. I'm not going to go on about Heath Ledger's Joker. It's great. One thing I do want to talk about is Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed this version of Two-Face.
Yeah, he was just getting going though
Mm-hmm.
when he ends.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I didn't like about it. I'm like, he gets set off and he's going around terrorizing, being a crazy psychopath. He
Not
never
for long.
becomes the gang leader in this version.
Yeah, but there's the whole reason.
And-
This is the whole plot of it. Is because they don't know. They don't want to know. They don't want people to know what happened with him, and that's the whole plot of these two movies, really. This one and the next one.
The ending of this one, once again, we're spoiling this because this movie's 15 years old now. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and jump to the next section. I got the time codes down below in the description.
Yeah.
They left the end of the movie ambiguous, I believe, on purpose with Two-Face. Is he dead? Is he not dead?
Oh.
Now we find out in the next one, yeah, he
I
died.
thought he was
Which
dead.
I didn't like that,
Well,
personally. I want to see more Two-Face.
The problem is that I think it was is a decision made because the whole theme of it is that he's the only one in Gotham that's giving people hope. And Batman's
What about
not able
Batman?
to do that. Well, he's not. There's people against Batman in this. So the city is so jaded. So they need Harvey Dent. This is the whole
Yeah.
premise of it.
Yeah, that's the thing in the movie. Harvey Dent is the White Knight, and
Yeah.
Batman is the Dark Knight.
Yeah, they need. They're looking for someone that the city will look to, But then when he turns so sour and becomes
Yeah,
a
because
villain,
he goes
they
crazy.
don't want anybody to know about that, and that leads into the next movie, and that causes problems then in the next movie.
Yeah.
So, and Batman's able to take it on, and he just goes into exile.
They could. I'll mention this more when we talk about the next one, but they could actually bring him back. They could say he didn't die, but then he died later, and they could do another movie with him right afterwards where Batman has to take him down.
I kind of like that they killed him.
I didn't at all. I
Because it
want to
was
see more
really
Two-Face.
interesting because a lot of these villains they never die, and I think this was a turn against that because that's the thing. These villains they always keep on coming back.
But that's what I like about it.
I just
And
thought it was a different plot twist. I enjoyed it.
It's one thing that I don't like about not just how they ended this with Two-Face from this movie, but more so in the next one, because then they say he's dead. But it's one thing it's a gripe that I have about all comic book movies. Why are they always killing off their villains? You have these amazing villains. You don't kill them off. You want them to come back and do more.
Well,
Whereas it's like Batman 89 kills the Joker, right? And then it's Batman Returns. Oh, we gotta kill Penguin and Shrek.
yeah, but with this one, this was the whole plot of the film. That's why it happened. This was the whole idea around this film was that Batman takes the blame. He becomes a Dark Knight.
Yes, I get that.
That's the whole point of it.
And then that leads into the next movie.
Yeah, that was the
But-
whole plot of the whole
And
thing.
I get
so
that, but
he had to die.
they didn't kill off Heath Ledger's Joker. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's great. They could bring him back. Unfortunately, what happened to Heath Ledger happened. If you don't know about that, you might want to Google that. But he
Went off
unfortunately
the rails.
died, let's say. I don't want to get into
It was-
that.
Yeah,
So they
pretty
couldn't
sad.
bring him back.
No.
But I like it when they don't kill off villains so that they can bring them back again. Instead, now we're getting villains being brought back. Remember Spider-Man No Way Home? They brought back all these villains that were supposedly dead,
Yeah,
and they
but
brought them back right before they died. So that's why you don't kill off your
There was
villains,
a
because you want to
reason.
use them
Well,
again.
They were able to write it in. But I guess this leads us into the next film.
Now, hold on, we're not
Oh,
done
we're
with
not
this
finished
one
with this
yet.
one? Okay.
What
I
kind of
thought-
rate? Okay, before we move on, so The Dark Knight from 2008. What rating
Yeah.
would you give it? I give it best movie ever.
I probably give
Still
it
to this day, it
Like a
holds up.
93, but it's a bit long.
Yeah. I found that with this one, I didn't feel it as much as with others. Say the first one or the third one. So that's our thoughts on Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight from 2008. What are your guys' thoughts on this movie? Do you think it's great? Have you seen it? Let us know down in the comments below. We'll read those out on the next episode. Now we're going to